Hey, next.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey guys, the kids are all pretty happy and well adjusted this morning. They got their school done. Mumu should be starting here pretty soon.
After lunch.
After lunch,
I
okay.
pooped.
Ah, the boy. But we're having a good day. But we're kind of bummed, right? Because Tabbo Tom left the building, huh?
Who's that?
Tabbo Tom, the guy who had no water up in the bathroom.
Oh.
We have water up there now. You can get a shower. So something happened this morning. We came in there. I got more pressure up there now than we've had ever since we've been here. So they were able to do something. So why couldn't they have done it before? It took these guys here losing their water to get their houses built to go down and really complain, and somebody did something this morning because we've got decent pressure. It's not where I think it should be, but I was able to get a shower this morning. So Tabbo Tom, he's out of here. I think he's lurking in the grasses over there. I'm not sure, but the boys over there are working today. They got the top piece on. And next, it looks like it'll be the roof. I'm interested to see what they do with the rebar to tie the roof in, if they're going to weld it but I know they use a real heavy steel 2x4s for the base, and then the lighter ones going across. So the roofs here seem pretty good. I did mention to the fellow down there about getting some sort of an insulation. We don't feel heat from the ceiling at all up there, even if you put your hand on it. We don't have any problem with heat. I'm wondering as houses go up if it'll increase our airflow or lower it. But we have the air conditioners if we need them. It's going to be pretty good. I got getting ready for shoes and socks and stuff. Wes is going to be going to the CF Moto, and if there's a mechanic there, he's going to give me a buzz. So I'm going to scoot over there just for a nice ride on the bike and check out some CS Moto bikes. I'll bring the camera if I go. I don't know. He hasn't called yet. It's 10:30 now. But like I say, beautiful day. It's hot in the sun. Doesn't look like well, you never know here about the rain, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it. But just from an hour ago, we're starting to get a haze over where it was just beautiful, clear blue skies all morning. Now we're starting to get some clouds moving in, and so you just never can tell. 15 minutes from now, it could be raining. That's just how it is in this place. But gonna check my air. Something about the bike I noticed. Now I don't know if this is Yamaha, just because of the tube that they bought, but I'm starting to get rust on the part where you fill it up. One thing I noticed about the bikes, I've had a lot of new bikes. Have Suzukis. They seem to be put together pretty good, but as I got new bikes, I remember when I had the Marauder, that one, when it was assembled, the back wheel was on an angle that had to be straightened out right away. It had loose nuts and bolts. Hondas are always pretty good. We know those are really durable. Fit and finish on them is pretty good. And then Kawasaki's, those are the speed demons always, and they seem to be pretty well sorted out. But when it come down to the bikes, what you call the big four of the Japanese manufacturers, every time I got a Yamaha, there was never really anything had to be done with them. They were well put together, attention to detail, more so than any other bike manufacturer that I've seen. But this one here, they messed up on the. I don't like seeing rust. I just don't like seeing rust on a new bike, and that's what we're getting now. So that'll be a tube change whenever that happens. But these tires they seem pretty grippy for what they are. They're made for durability, but they're pretty grippy. And I just love riding this little bike. I know everybody says the black is really growing on me. I like the color. I like the looks of it when you look at it straight from the front. Ever since we started parking here, it's just a nice looking machine. It's a good looking machine. The brakes on it, these drums are really good. Now for me, A couple things I would have liked to seen on this bike. I would have liked to seen a kill switch. You know, we got your starter, but there's no kill switch on it. You have to turn the key off to shut it off. It does got a pass light. I'd rather they got rid of the pass light, because I can easily click it up to high and low if I'm going to pass. I don't need a switch. I would have rather this switch been a kill switch. That would have been nice to have. An attack would have been a nice little feature. But I guess on this machine you don't really need to. You're not really revving it up. You can hear the motor when she's done. But a pretty cool little machine. Having a lot of fun riding it. It is squirrely, but it's set up. It's made for a tricycle bike. Now, when I had the Honda TMX 150, that thing was just balanced really good. Faye and I took that on a lot of rides, and I never noticed that it was squirrely. This one, guys, it's squirrely. If you're going to get a bike that you just want to drive around without putting a sidecar on, I wouldn't recommend this one. I just wouldn't. It just seems top heavy and squirrely, especially with my wife's about 140 pounds and I'm 240, so I guess it says that's overloaded on it, but it's not super stable. I'm not real comfortable on it. I thought after riding it more and more I would get more comfortable with her on the back, but it's not. I just took her up the other day to the guard shack. She went out with Ami, and it's just squirrely. It's not, and it's not me. It's not me. I could jump on other bikes. Now I rode Wes's 650, and then once we got the tires aired up, it just, boy, I'll tell you what, I'm liking that bike more and more. There's a fella here that has the 400. He loves it. I'm not hearing problems with the durability on them. Like me, one of the things that we used to go riding up in the high desert. I had a Zero 250, the Yamaha, and I'd go riding with those fellas up there. And then my neighbor across the street, his brother passed away. He had a Kawasaki 450. We'd put it on the trailer and pull it with my truck, and that was a machine. That was a machine that could do a lot better than me. I mean, that was really some machine. And we went on some of these rides where everybody's got to ride through certain areas, and they had prizes and stuff like that, prizes of beer and chips and bags of stuff. And some of those guys are really good. There was one fella at work that he's a big fella. He was my size, not as tall as me, but about the same weight. And he had a Honda, and it was the 650, but it was a water-cooled 650. And boy, that guy could ride. He could really ride. But we used to go on a lot of these big rides in the desert, and we'd get a bunch of guys together, and we got to the point where if guys were on the KTMs, we just didn't invite them. We didn't invite them anymore, because when we were riding, you get flats, you get little minor things, or somebody runs out of gas and we stop for a little bit, fix it, and we move on. But most of the time we were with the KTM guys, everybody stops together if somebody has a breakdown, and those things were just breaking. It's just every ride. And I was talking to my neighbor across the street. His name was Juan, and I was like, man, I know your buddies want to come along, but I don't want to ride with them guys, because we never would ride. We just couldn't ride, because right off the bat one of the KTMs was breaking down, and not a breakdown. It was a breakdown where we had to go back and get the trailers, and then I'd have to leave my bike out there with somebody with it, drive them back, because we had the trailer. We were the only bikes that didn't that you couldn't ride to the site, where we were riding. So I'd be dragging them back, and then I'd have to come back out. Now, whenever I did take the Zero, though, I would ride out to there. My buddy, he had a rack on the back of his car that he would hoist it up with a come along and hook it on the back of his car and drag the bike out. And I actually went with him one time, and it was a little tiny Hyundai car. And he had a special rack made up for it, and we got stopped twice by the police because they didn't like the way that was on there. But they let us go. We say, hey, what do you want us to do? This is the car he's got. What? Just because he can't afford a big truck and a trailer, you're going to give him a ticket so that he can't afford one next year? So the cops always were reasonable out there. Once we were up in the high desert, All right, Bob. That was the state highway patrol guys out in California, and they were all reasonable. Those guys were reasonable. You get into L.A. and drive around there; they're unreasonable. Those cops. You see all this stuff about defund the police. I don't think they should do that. I don't think they should defund it. What they should do is they should get these jerk cops and get rid of them. You know what I mean? Just get rid of them. If they don't have the temperament for the job, when they turn into tyrants, just send them packing. Let them go do something else. Let them work for the city, be garbage collectors or something like that. You know, because I do see a lot of them that are just not. They just don't have the temperament for the job, and it's all around the world. You're seeing this stuff. Fellow Jim that I'd go back and forth with on the Messenger, he did send a good one about the slogans. And, you know, back in 1941, the slogan was, you know, get on the trains. And the new slogan now is take the Jabbo. So, history repeats, guys. So just know that. But either way, if Wes doesn't give a holler, I'm going to be taking the bike for a ride. The kids want to ride some more and want to run some gas through here. It seems like forever. You know, I've put 100 and some kilometers on it since I filled up the tank. I filled it at 400, and you open up the top, and it's still way up there at the top. This thing is just so efficient on the fuel. I am going to do on the next tank, because I had problems with the you know, with the gas, because I got it at this one station up here and had some trouble. That seems to be done. So when this tank when it hits reserve, I'm going to fill her back up again, mark the mileage, and then I'll give you guys a report on what it actually is getting. And I don't mean this highway. This is just our running around. And I zoom it around pretty good. It's broken enough now where, you know, I'm going to give her some gumption. I was coming back the other day, and there's a big open spot. I take a back way up here, and there's a big open way with a sweep and turn, and I gave her all she got, and I was doing that corner, and I'll tell you what, this thing, it seems to go. Once you're rolling, it handles really well. You know, I can get my butt down on the side of the seat. I was making a big sweeping right-hand turn, and I can get my butt way down on the side and keep the bike standing up with all the weight. And I was really surprised how well it handled. And the tires, that's what I was saying about the tires. They weren't complaining at all, and I was cooking. I was cooking. I even shifted in the middle of the turn from third to fourth, because I had her wound up pretty good. And I hit fourth, and that thing didn't do anything squirrely or anything like that. And I was doing about 85 when I come out of the apex of the turn. And like I say, nothing on the bike was complaining. So, and I do love the seat. You know, my Rouser that I had, one of the first things this is kind of got a little drop on it. I like the seats that are flat. Well, my Rouser had the flat in the back here, and then it dropped down to the tank and got real narrow. Well, that's just uncomfortable. They do that so that supposedly it'll fit a big guy and a little guy, and that's just not the case. So I had one of the guys up the road. We got a big new piece of vinyl, and then he had some foam that he laid in there, and we made the seat level. We actually brought it up the tank a little bit higher for me because I'm tall. He widened it out, and then flat. Mine was the only Rouser that had a flat seat on it. And he just used the seat that I had. He just added to it, and then we got the new cover. I said I wanted to look just like stock, and we used the firm. He had different kind of foam, and he just laid it on the existing foam. He laid the side piece on, sprayed it on with some 3M glue, and then set it in place. And then once he got the sides bolstered out real good, then he put a piece in here, and he just kept adding until he got one big piece going all the way to the back. And then I was right there with him, then stapled it in around the bottom, pulled it real tight, and that was the seat that was on that bike, and a very comfortable bike to ride around on. And a lot of guys come here, and they want the big bikes and all this. And I like to have a bike for getting on the highway myself, but you don't need them here. You know, this little 125 is great. My 135 Rouser, that was a Baja, Kawasaki labeled Baja. That was a good bike. The only problem it had, and I see it on a lot of them, is they seep oil right here. right where the bottom of the jug meets the case. And they said it was because of the gasket. Now, I did talk to a fellow that he didn't like that. And he took it in to repair it, and they put another of the same one on, and it leaked again. And he just was really bummed, so he got a aftermarket gasket from somebody. And it wasn't the one piece little skinny paper one like that was on mine. It was a 3-layered one, and he put that on there. And he said that was the end of his troubles there. So I think when they were building it, they just went cheap with the gasket instead of putting a good one on. Now I don't see the new rousers anymore. I don't see a lot of them. And the sad thing, you don't see the rousers like when I had mine. So maybe they just aren't holding up in the long run. But you see a lot of bikes here that don't hold up. There was a lot of guys when I was working got these Chinese dirt bikes. They look just like the Kawasaki. They're the Kawasaki color, and then you can get one in orange, just like the KTM color, and they look good. They got a 150 motor on them, and they're dirt bikey. You know, they're the full-on dirt, street and trail type, you might say, but dirt bike. And a lot of those guys had those, and just you don't see them on the road anymore. They're just too expensive to upkeep because something's always breaking. Plus, some of the guys that work within months, because it rained there, your bike gets wet, and those ones, just everywhere you looked was rust. All the connectors just was rust.
I'm gonna sit.
Oh, you can sit right there.
Okay.
Even the rotors would just be covered in rust. Horrible. And then I was up at the dealer where they sold them in GMA, and you go in there and they had so many of them. The plastics was all dull and faded, and they had lines of them where they were, having to fix something here or there. So I'm not too hot on a lot of the Chinese stuff, but so there's that disclaimer. But it seems to me that the CF Motos I've seen seem to be pretty decent. That one that Wes has, it's basically like a Kawi Versus type. I don't think it's as big. When I looked at the Versus, that was one I was considering, and as soon as I got on it up in Das Marinas, it was like that was the end of that. It was just too big. Filtering through the traffic would have been non-existent. It's a get on the road bike. It's if you want to be economical and get on the highway. Perfect highway bike, but driving through the traffic, you got to get through traffic. This one's nice and narrow. They do the mirrors a little bit lower so you're not hitting them on stuff. I would have liked these mirrors. Trying to find aftermarket mirrors for the Yamaha is just tough. But I would have loved to have them be able to get them up higher for me. They're working really good though compared to bikes I've had in the past. My Buell, I didn't have to touch anything on that bike. Mirrors, everything was perfect for me. And then my Honda 750 was the same way. It had great mirrors and stuff like that. But it was low. It was the Cafe one, so it got a 6 extension on the front, Lester wheel on the front, and floorboards. And then, of course, the back shocks raised up. And then we had to take the kickstand, and I just cut it about in the center and built a sleeve in there. And then I went ahead and where the bolt holes were in that, I just stuck the welding rod in there and tacked it right in there and filled that hole. And the problem with that was then when you put the kickstand up, it was hitting, so I had to heat that up. With some acetylene and then bend that out. And I put a swivel on it. I put a bearing down on the bottom, and that's something I wish they would start doing. The bottom of this thing, the paint's all gone. The bottom of the center stand is all rusty. I'd like to see a swivel. I'd like to see a swivel on there so you can spin your bike around. A lot of times when you park here, there's not a lot of room. That's something. I've done it to bikes. This one leans over pretty good, so me putting a little bearing, bolting the bearing up through there so I can swivel it should be no problem, because I can kick this up quite a bit, and it's not going to be. It's leaning pretty good now, but really, I really like it. We're planning on. I'm going to see if I can find the picture, and I'll put it at the end of the video of what I want. It looks like a little jeepney back, and what happens is the motor of it is in the front, and you got windshield up here. It's like a bus, and it ties into the bike, and then you've got jeepney seats in the back. People enter from the back like a jeepney. I'm gonna find that picture and make sure I put it in there for you guys. And the only reason I want that one is so that if we go to the store, we got plenty of room to put stuff. I can put my wife and all the kids in there, and it has 4 wheels, so I don't gotta abide by these tricycle laws that I could probably get a ticket from, because the signage and traffic cops all over in Lipa City, and if I go up that way, and you know, I could run into a bind, you know, with taking my license and stuff like that, because there's certain roads you can't have a tricycle. Doesn't matter if it's private. These guys don't seem to care. They should let you go if you're a private citizen, that is your car. They should let you drive wherever you want. I don't think they should be on the highway. And then somebody was saying, oh, well, yeah, if you get that center one, you know, but they don't allow them on the highway. Well, no, there ain't no way I want to get on a highway with a 125 with a big heavy thing, even a 200, you know. And if I had, let's say if I had a SV650 and could put that same thing on the back, no, I'm not going to get on the highway with something like that. That could be an accident waiting to happen if you got a big gust of wind. You know, we get some serious wind, gusty wind. Not like when I was going up through the, what's the name of that pass, going up to the high desert? Cajon Pass. When I used to go up there and ride the bike. My goodness, the winds that would hit you there. I actually saw a guy go down. You know, I would try to get behind a truck and go.
Can I go
Yeah, you can change it now. And the Buell was really squirrely in those winds. I liked it best when I was on the Dyna because of the weight, but I would have to lean into the wind. Sometimes I would even get my whole body on the wind side and set my butt down over here and keep all my weight there to keep from getting blown around. And it was something. A lot of you guys that ride that, you know what I mean. And when I drove the worst one I had for driving up there was when I drove the XR 650 up there, 650L. That was absolutely, I did it one time, and then I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I was slowed way down. You know, that gets real dangerous. So, but I did see a guy out, he passed me, he was on a BMW, and I'm doing about 50 behind the truck, and he shot past, and when they make that big sweeping left-hand turn, he lost control. It ran him into the sidewall, and I actually shot over there. There wasn't traffic coming to my left, so I shot over there to see if I could help him, but his one knee here was scraped completely through the kneecap, and he was on the phone calling his girlfriend or something to get help. His bike wasn't too bad, but he wasn't able to get up. He was hurt, and I says, hey, you know, I'll call you an ambulance. Nah, I'll be all right and stuff. I did call when I got up the top of the hill. I called an ambulance. I'm sure there were a lot of cars doing the same thing, and to get him some help. But it was scary. Here we don't seem to get them, but I think if I had that big jeepney back on a bike, that could get squirrely. But they do put good tires on the back. I don't know if they got brakes. When I was down in Davao City, the guy had them brand new built ones installed on your bike for $70,000. Well, then on the northern part of the island where Mike is, hey Mike, he said he could, you know, they can get him down there for it's a little over 50 for basically the same thing, and that's what I really want to get. You know, the bike's $1,000. If I could get one of those for $1,000, a little over, I got $2,000 in machine, and that's going to be my buggy for you know, for cruising. I was in those up in Davao. I actually rode in them because you can go a heck of a long way in those. You know, for just 8-10 pesos, and they move along really good. A lot of guys had the Kawasaki Morocco, the 175, but I saw guys, there were a couple of them that had the Honda, and I even saw a guy that had one that had a Yamaha 110, and he was at the market. He was using it to haul the fruits and stuff up. So I asked him, you know, how's it go? I didn't get to see him drive it. I asked him how. Oh yeah, it goes good. It goes real good. He didn't use it for passenger, and you can get 7-8 Filipinos in those. You know, it's amazing what they get in. So I'm going to search for the picture before I put this video up so you can see it. I'd want to get one that's a real bright color, like they got the yellow ones that look like a cab. I'd actually kind of like to do it something other than yellow, so they don't think I'm, in business. I want to definitely put a sticker on it that says, because a lot of times when I was driving my tricycle, people are trying to hail you, to stop you. I've actually been stopped at a light where somebody just got in it because they thought I was, working. So I want to get a private thing, and I'd like to also have on the back of it a door, a hinge door on there, so it could be latched from the inside, so the kids wouldn't fall out or anything like that. And that's where I'll do shopping. I don't want to use this car all the time. That's going to be just for highway. And yesterday, I don't know what happened, but the battery took a crap. I had to bump start it. I don't know if it's going to start today. None of the lights in the car were left on. I've been watching that because the kids play with the buttons. So I really don't know what happened. But it's over 2 years, 2.5 years now. So it's a tiny battery. It's not much bigger than a motorcycle battery, and the pan for the battery is much bigger. So I think what's going to happen payday, I'm going to roll down to the there's a big car place up here with a lot of batteries and tires and stuff. I'm going to pull in there and see if I can get a better battery. And if I can find a gel battery or one of these new types of batteries, whatever it costs, I'm just going to put that in because I want to just be done monkeying with that. We can't get stuck somewhere. Here it's nice. I've been parking it this way so it's on a hill and I can bump start it. But when we go out somewhere, we got to leave it running. I don't want to get stuck in. I need to get a jump box too in there. I haven't got a jump box yet, but I always carried them in the past. So that's just where we're at with that. So it's probably due for a battery. There's no way to get the water in there, even the top. Most of them you can still break that off and add water to them, but not this one. It just looks like it's going to break the top. I'm going to try it though, see how much water's in there. So I'm going to do that too today after I find my picture for you guys. So I'm going to let you go. And Tablo Tom, I hope we don't ever see you again. And I'm going to let you go. This is Rick Shaw. What about you, mister?
Shaw, bye-bye.
There you go. He's playing his game on the tablet. So y'all take care, and we'll talk to you again.